Patsy, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. I think I don't fit.
You're like the cutest little petite thing ever. Well, thanks for being here for the
Thank
show.
you.
And I have had the pleasure of knowing you and knowing your story, but not everyone watching may know who you are. So give us a little bit of your story.
Well, it's not pleasant, but it gets better as it goes on, so have hope. I was a high school dropout and a teenage runaway. I was married by the time I was 17. I had my first baby at 20, and then I became an agoraphobic, which sounds like the Ringling Brothers, but actually what it means is that you are housebound by fear. Now, at this time, I have a husband and a young baby, and I'm becoming non-functional. And soon after indulging my fear, because I didn't know what to do with it, I gave in to it. And when you do that, it multiplies. When it finally hit me that if something didn't change, I wasn't going to make it. There would be nothing else to do with me but lock me away. I had already withdrawn from society into my home, withdrawn in my home into my bed. And I wanted my poor dear husband to fix me. Just fix me. I want to be like you, but I was not meant to be like him. I was meant to be like Jesus. And he offers freedom. I said, dear Lord, I'm not going to make it if you don't do something. So here's the deal. You tell me what to do, and whatever it is, I'll obey you. And in that moment, I heard inside of me a voice. It wasn't on the outside. I would have known that it's all over now. Lock me up. But it was on the inside. And the voice said, make your bed. And I thought, make my bed? I'm telling you, I want to get well so I can do great things for you. And you're saying, make my bed? That didn't make any sense to me. I would learn later there's a principle in God's word that says, when you're faithful in the little things I ask you, I'll give you more. And when you're faithful in more, I'm going to give you much. And I stepped out of the bed that day because, see, that's what I didn't understand. What do you mean make the bed? I'm in it. And it's real hard to make it when you're in it. Well, hello. So I got up and I made the bed. But then I didn't know what to do with my energy and my fear. And God would bring one book after another, one person after another to invest in my life. And I was hungry to get well and to be sane and to be able to love on my family in healthy ways.
So good, Patsy. I mean, it is such a beautiful story of redemption, really, out of this fear topic that we're talking about on the show today. And so you said you were married, newly married during all of this time, but now fast forward, it's been 57 years of marriage. So
it's called endurance.
That's right.
Sweat equity.
Okay, that's it. That's what I was going to ask you. What's the secret, right? How do you last 57 years? How do you have a marriage to get to that point?
Mm-hmm. Well, you hold your breath a lot. So you don't say the first thing that's on your mind. It's not always in your best interest or anyone else's. There's something about just taking a deep breath and saying, do I really want to say this? And is it kind? Is it loving? Is it helpful? Will it bring about goodwill between us? I'm not saying we did that all the time. I'm saying that's a good idea to do that.
I bet you did, Patsy. I bet you did. Okay, so looking back in your marriage, what are a couple of things? That was one great example. What's something else that you're so happy that you guys did over the years?
Then we hung in there with each other because it would have been easier to quit a number of times. Because you have seasons in your marriage, just like you have seasons at work and seasons at everyday life. And I found that it was helpful in those distant times when one of us could say to the other, I'm still here. We're going to make it through this. And oftentimes, the difficult seasons were in the midst of a big problem.
Yeah.
You know, you bump up against a problem and it kind of seeps through your relationship, and you have to kind of learn what to do with all of that. And I did a lot of blaming to my husband about what I felt instead of taking responsibility for my own feelings. So I had to learn to name what I was feeling and then to own it and do something with it besides blame him. And that improved a lot of things in our marriage.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, you kind of answered my next question, but you're sitting here, so I'm like, I want to keep asking it because I want more advice. Okay, so what were things that you look back and you say, okay, man, if we just did that differently, I would do that. If I could go back in time and do X, Y, or Z differently, I probably would.
Yes, I use my moods to control. I would do that differently. I wouldn't do that. That's cruel. I would, instead of saying words, I'd slam a cupboard. Or, boy, I'd really punish him by shutting down and not saying any words. Well, that was relief. It was his vacation. We would begin the long journey of learning how to grow up into adulthood when we were already in our adult years.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as every marriage knows, including yours, right, you face these problems, the times you do feel disconnected. So what did you and your husband do to stay connected during those hard times?
Well, sometimes we did it wrong and sometimes we did it right. This was all new language to us.
Right.
And so it would take us time to learn. Whenever you get a new skill, it has to be integrated into the relationship.
Yep.
And that doesn't come usually overnight.
No.
And the one thing that we found that's helpful is to just reassure each other that you love them. I don't particularly like you right now, but I want to assure you that I love you. So
yeah, that's so good. I think for Winston and I in this season, we've just learned, so we've been married 10 years in December, and for some reason, it's like these seasons kind of flare up. And for us, we've kind of gone back to this like vulnerability and being known on a deep, deep level just in this last season. Like it's kind of been this refreshing thing of us like going back to this idea of, okay, if we just are completely 100% known by each other, the depth that your marriage goes in that. And so we've really been acting in that really the last probably 12 months and being really purposeful on it. So I think being vulnerable is huge. It can be really hard for some people, but I think it is a big part of marriage. So for you guys, how would you advise someone to create kind of this vulnerable space for spouses to be known and be vulnerable?
When Les and I were trying, we both thought, well, this is weird. Well, this is awkward. Well, you have to practice through your awkwardness. And that feels uneasy for us. We like a sense of control. And when he would tell me how he was feeling, many times I was surprised. I would think, I didn't know you felt that way. Well, let me reassure you. So, and he would reassure me.
Okay, so someone that's watching the show who's possibly single, right? They don't have a spouse to go through fear with. They don't know, they don't have that go-to person. How important is it for someone out there who's single to have that person in their life to walk through fear with?
Yes, I couldn't be everything to Les, and he couldn't be everything to me. You can be lonely in a marriage. It's not just the single girls that have loneliness. You can be married and feel all by yourself. And that there are times that the Lord wants to be the one you turn to because he's the only one that's going to heal the deep depth of your hurt. And I often will say, Lord, I need a people to help walk with me. And often he will send me counsel through someone. And more often than not, the counsel will come through the lips of my husband. And it may not be in the serving dish I was hoping for.
That's a nice way of putting it. Well, Patsy, you are wonderful. I love being around you. You're one of those people that you're around, and I'm like, oh, I want to be you when I'm older. I mean, seriously, you are just absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.